A prairie town needs three things: rain, a railroad, and a reason for anyone to stop. Take away any one of them, and the town starts dying. Take away all three, and it's gone inside a generation. That's exactly what happened across eastern Colorado, where drought, fire, and the interstate emptied one main street after another. Here are 10 towns the plains took back, and the last one was named for the way it would end. Number 10. Wild Horse. This one started as a U.S. cavalry outpost in 1869, which tells you what kind of country this was at the time, and it grew into something considerably more substantial than you would expect from a place with that name. At its height, Wild Horse had a lumber yard, 3 saloons, a pool hall, a barber shop, a hardware store, and the 2-story Albany Hotel. Then, in 1917, a fire tore through and destroyed most of the business district, and Wild Horse never got back what it lost. The Great Depression and the Dust Bowl came through in the 1930s and took another cut, and eventually the railroad service ended, which for a prairie town is usually the last thing that happens before the lights go out. Drive the main road today, and every single house along it stands abandoned. There's a gas station sitting empty right along the highway, and next door to it a collapsing restaurant called The Antelope, its roof folding in on itself a little more with every winter. Most of the buildings carry no trespassing signs now. The one bright spot is the old schoolhouse, which somebody has restored, and restored well. Number 9. Hereford, which sits up in Weld County just a few miles from the Wyoming line. It began in the late 1880s as a railroad flag station and section house on the Burlington and Missouri River Railroad. The rail line that gave the town its reason for existing disappeared decades ago. What is left runs on agriculture and ranching, the same as it always did, just with fewer people to do it. There's an abandoned campground on the edge of town, and Hereford did not so much die as thin out until there was almost nothing left to thin. Number 8. Delhi, sitting along U.S. Highway 350, about halfway between Trinidad and La Junta. There isn't much left of Delhi, and what there is has been going fast. The centerpiece, such as it is, was the old one-stop general store, a building that came complete with a detached outhouse out back. The store has collapsed, and recently. Delhi is the kind of ghost town that will be a foundation and a highway sign inside another decade. Number 7. Stoneham, back up in Weld County, established in 1888. It lost its rail service a long time ago, and passenger service through the area ended for good in 1971. What makes Stoneham interesting is that it hasn't entirely surrendered. The church still appears to hold services, which in a town this far gone is genuinely notable, and the post office looks to still be operating. Head out of town along the highway, though, and you find the other side of the story: an abandoned gas station and the empty shell of the Prairie Café, both of them left to the weather. Stoneham is a town holding on with 2 or 3 fingers. Number 6. Vona, which began its life as a siding along the Chicago, Rock Island, and Pacific Railroad when the line came through in the late 1880s. Vona peaked in 1920 with a population of 268. Like so many small towns out on the plains, a large fire destroyed much of its business district, and the town never recovered its footing afterward. But the thing that really finished Vona was the interstate. When the highway went in and traffic was pulled away from the old route, every gas station and roadside business in town lost its customers overnight, and a town that had already lost its fire and its momentum had nothing left to hold anyone. The post office is somehow still in operation. It is one of the last things standing. Number 5. Seibert, over in Kit Carson County, and this is a town of contradictions. Walk the main street and the buildings are abandoned, one after another, a whole commercial row standing empty. And yet, the post office in Seibert has been running continuously since 1888 without a break, which is remarkable for a place that peaked in 1920 with just 311 residents. The rail service still exists here, and the grain elevators are still in operation, so Seibert is not dead. Farming and ranching keep it going, but its main street is a museum of a town that used to be considerably busier than it is now. Number 4, New Raymer, which some people still just call Raymer. The original town was platted in 1888 by the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Railroad, the same line that ran the route locals nicknamed the Prairie Dog Express, and it was officially incorporated in 1919. In the 1920s, it peaked at 417 people, and it had a bank, grocery stores, and the assorted businesses that a town that size needs to function. The old bank building is still recognizable, and so is the former gas station. The town lost its rail service, but the grain elevators may well still be in use, and there is one building that has recently been restored so thoroughly that photographs of it from 10 years ago look like a different structure entirely. Number 3, Model, and the name is the whole story. Model was developed in the early 20th century as a planned model community, an intentional town laid out on purpose and named for what it was supposed to be. It sits on U.S. Route 350, part of the Santa Fe Trail Byway, which is one of the loneliest highways in the entire state. Historically, it was a small agricultural community with a post office, a grocery store, a schoolhouse, and a handful of homes, and the building that served as the grocery store and gas station is still there. Model went the way of the others, undone by competition from large corporate farms, by drought, and by the long shift away from small-scale agriculture that hollowed out the whole region. Here's the detail that stays with you. The trains still come through Model every single day. They just don't stop. A town built on purpose to be a model of what a community could be now watches the trains pass through without slowing down. Number 2, Arroyo. The name comes from the Spanish word for a small stream or a gulch, and the area was first settled in 1866, which makes it older than most things out here. It became a railway camp when the Kansas Pacific Railroad came through in 1869 and 1870, functioning as a water stop and a support point for the railroad workers. The building worth knowing about is the school, which operated from around 1907 until the early 1960s. And Arroyo hung on far longer than you would expect. The last resident didn't leave until 2002, which means somebody was still living in a ghost town well into the 21st century. And number 1, Keota, up in Weld County, where the name says everything. Keota comes from a Native American phrase meaning the fire has gone out. It was given that name in 1880 when the town was founded, long before anybody could have known how appropriate it would turn out to be. Keota was established when 2 sisters homesteaded the land and later sold it on to the Lincoln Land and Cattle Company, and it became a key stop on the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Railroad, the line locals called the Old Prairie Dog Express. It was never a big place. At its absolute peak, Keota never held more than 150 people. Then, the severe droughts of the 1930s devastated the agriculture that the whole community depended on, and the population went into a decline it never came out of. By 1958, there were 15 people left. The last official resident reportedly left in 1999, though it appears one family still lives out there, holding on in a town that was named more than a century ago for exactly the way it would end. The fire has gone out. It's right there in the name. That's 10 towns on the eastern plains, and what strikes me about this half of Colorado is how little attention it gets. Everyone goes west, to the mountains, but out here it's quiet and open and genuinely peaceful, and there are main streets standing empty that were somebody's whole world once. If you're ever out visiting places like these, be careful where you walk, because there are real hazards in buildings this far gone. And if you know an abandoned town that deserves a spot on the next list, leave it in the comments. Thanks for watching.